Today, we're going to walk you through the concept of linguistic racism. To understand linguistic racism, it is essential to understand when it happens and its fundamental nature. Linguistic racism happens when people are judged, excluded, or treated unfairly because of the way they speak or the way they look. It can be about accents, grammar, vocabulary, or even just the sound of a voice or the skin color of the speaker. Linguistic racism is not just about accents or grammar. It is racism at its core, where language is used as a surface justification for racial discrimination. For example, even when someone speaks English fluently, was born into an English-speaking family, or sounds like a so-called native speaker, they can still be judged, excluded, or treated unfairly based on their racialized appearance. Therefore, it is ultimately about race, where the language is serving as the excuse for reinforcing racial hierarchies. There are different forms of linguistic racism. It can be overt, like mocking an accent, or subtle, like assuming someone is less intelligent because of the way they speak or the way they look. So, how linguistic racism affects us? Since language isn't just a way to communicate, it is part of who we are. So when people judge or exclude us because of our language, it can deeply affect our confidence, identity, and opportunities. For example, an international student with a strong accent might be overlooked for a job interview, despite having the right qualifications, simply because their way of speaking is perceived as less professional. This kind of bias can make people feel like they need to change or hide their linguistic identity just to be accepted. In this sense, linguistic racism can make people feel like their voice doesn't matter. Repeatedly experienced, it can lead to trauma like self-doubt and insecurity in speaking situations, avoiding certain social or professional spaces out of fear of judgment, feeling pressured to erase part of one's linguistic or cultural identity in order to fit in. Even policies can reinforce linguistic racism, like job requirements that demand native-like English. Even when the role itself doesn't require it, these expectations don't just limit opportunities, they create lasting harm by making people feel that their natural way of speaking is wrong or less than. But linguistic racism isn't always this obvious. Many people don't even realize it's happening. Here are some examples. Teachers favor students who speak with a standard accent. Job applicants are rejected because of their pronunciation, even if they are qualified. Assuming someone is uneducated or incapable based on their grammar or vocabulary. Correcting someone's speech in a way that shames rather than supports them. Can linguistic racism be challenged? Yes. Challenging linguistic racism doesn't mean ignoring differences in language. It means valuing linguistic diversity and respecting how people express themselves. Here is how we can start. Be aware of our own biases about language and intelligence. Respect linguistic diversity. Respond in a way that empowers, not shames. Celebrate different ways of speaking as part of a cultural richness, not deficiency.